Tekrar merhabalar. Türksel Teknoloji Zirvesi'nde sunum yapan konuklarla röportajlarımız devam ediyor. Şimdi ben burada Martin Reeves'le birlikteyim. Martin Reeves, Boston Consulting Group'un yönetici ortaklarından bir tanesi. Aynı zamanda o bünyede ki Henderson Institute'unda başkanı. Teknoloji firmaları ve stratejiler üzerine bir sunum yapacak. Martin, really nice to see you here and thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
So you'll have a presentation here on the stage at the Türksel Technology Summit, and it's about having a strategy for the technology companies. What should be the very first step of having or establishing a strategy for a technology company?
Right. Well, I guess my metaphor for today is this gentleman Lee Sodol. So a couple of hours ago, in fact, the Google algorithm, AlphaGo, beat the world Go champion at a game that until now had defied the algorithmic challenge. So my point really is that it's not sufficient to just have good technologies. We need to win in the marketplace with those technologies. Hence, technology changes strategy, but technology is not a strategy. So I talk about what is the strategy of technology.
So what's the first step? In terms of the startups and the companies which just starts to develop their own technology?
Well, first of all, we need to think about what is a strategy, because when we say strategy, it may conjure up images of planning and analysis and the planning department. This is one type of strategy. We call that the classical approach to strategy. But the key idea in my new book, which is called Your Strategy Needs a Strategy, is that actually any company now needs 5 ways of building a bridge to the future. Mm-hmm. So number 1 is the classical approach, which is we plan it. Some things we can plan, and we should. The second approach is the adaptive approach, which is gradually iterating towards the future with using experimentation. The third approach is the visionary approach, which is actually creating the future with new products and businesses. The fourth approach is the shaping approach, which is collaborating our way towards the future using platforms and ecosystems. And the fifth way, which is very popular amongst large companies right now, unfortunately, is what I call the renewal approach, which is before building the future, first fix the present. So my book essentially is about mastering these 5 ways of building a bridge to the future. And the subtitle of my book actually is How to Choose and Execute the Right Approach. So that's the key idea. Choose and execute the right approach for the right situation.
Okay, Boston Consulting Group is a really global company, and you also use these ideas to, I don't know, I should lecture your customers. Are there any good best examples of this?
Well, I'm not an academic. I am interested in the truth, but I'm more interested in creating impact with the truth. So actually, these are new ideas, but already we have these ideas live in about 50 clients worldwide. And actually, our data shows us that these ideas are basically universal problems of strategy. Technology is changing strategy in this way everywhere. Mm-hmm. But I could say that in high growth markets like Turkey and China, they're especially applicable. Why? Because we have very high degrees of unpredictability. Mm-hmm. We have a great ability to shape, and we have a great need to fix old approaches and create new ones. So actually, if these ideas are applicable anywhere, it's probably in a place like Turkey.
What about Europe? Is it different? So different from the States?
Well, I think these ideas are important everywhere. That every large company needs 5 approaches to strategy. But if you're in an oligopolistic situation in a low-growth environment with high regulation, probably these ideas are a little less urgent. If you're seeing the opposite of those things, like in Turkey, then probably these ideas can be extremely urgent. Now, one interesting thing we found is that hopefully the book will help people to understand these ideas, but we have evidence that actually understanding is not the critical step. Behavior change is the key step. Mm-hmm. So in addition to actually writing a book, and this is, if you like, an experiment on the part of BCG, we actually launched an app too, a game called Your Strategy Needs a Strategy. It's available on iTunes and Android. And the idea of that is that we want people to not only understand these ideas, but we want them to develop a muscle memory for how do you think and act according to each of these different approaches to strategy.
Let me tell about this. Nasıl olur da bir oyun sizi daha iyi bir stratejist yapabilir isminde bir uygulaması var. Aslında bunu indirip öğrenebilirsiniz. Bu stratejileri aslında bir araştırmanın da parçası. This is also part of a survey also. You'll get some feedback from this and
Exactly. Well, right now, this is it's just freely available to anyone. But the idea is that in our next version of this, in about 2 months' time, we will actually have an industrial product. What do I mean by that? We'll be able to take this into companies. We'll be able to program the game with the parameters of that particular industry. We'll be able to play this game with groups of managers, and we'll be able to tell them about their cognitive biases, their capabilities, their rate of learning, the complementarity of the team mix, and then we'll create a seminar around that actually helps them to decode the learnings of the game back into reality. And the hope is that this is maybe more effective than any PowerPoint presentation or any book in that it is experience-based.
Exactly, and I believe that this book should also be translated into Turkish.
I hope so too. Yes, if you know any good publishers, we're open to offers.
Okay, your friends here in Turkey maybe will help us.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, it's being translated into Chinese, Japanese, Arabic, a whole bunch of other languages, so why not Turkish?
Great. So was it your first time? Is it your first time in Turkey, in Istanbul?
No, I come very often on business. I find Turkish companies to be in a very fast-moving environment and actually to be very open to new business ideas. So I spend a lot of time here.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.